Hey peeps. So, as you can see, I have a little bit of an emergency situation here. So I figured I would make a long overdue video on this Sansevieria slash Dracena plant of mine. Now this is one that I got in a trade. I traded some of my Monstera variegata elbow cuttings with a friend, and she gave me this giant Sansevieria slash Dracena. I think this is the trifasciata. I could be wrong, but I forget. If I'm wrong and you know, feel free to comment below. I can never remember. But yeah, so she gave me this plant in exchange for it in this IKEA bin that doesn't have any drainage, with what looks like very well draining soil, but as you can see, it was quite top heavy, and I noticed it was starting to lean a little bit, and I thought, oh, it'll be fine, you know, I'll take care of it in the spring. And then I decided to try and move it, and it just completely toppled over on me. So I thought, okay, it's very dusty, it needs a repot, it's now falling over. So I know it's autumn, but yeah, you got to do what you got to do, and it will be fine, I'm sure, as long as I'm careful. And it's, you know, anything's got to be better than what it's in at the moment. So yeah, we're gonna unpot this, get it into a fresh pot here. This is just some soil, potting soil, which I'm going to amend with some cocoa coir there, which I still need to wet and get loose. And I'm going to put a little bit of sand, and this pot does have drainage. It's essentially a temporary one, because it's not the best, because I don't have any square trays. I have a round one, so it's not going to look very pretty. That's the catch tray that I'm going to be putting under it. It's not really the best looking combination, so this is temporary for now until I find something a bit prettier. But you know, for now it's more important to get this plant in something better. So let's get started, and I'm also going to be washing it, because as you can see, it's very dusty and dirty, and I haven't cleaned it yet, so shame on me for that. Okay, so for those who aren't familiar with cocoa coir, this is how you do it. Is you just put it in a container and you give it some water, get it nice and wet. So that's nice and wet. Okay, so what we do now is you just crumble it apart like this. If you find it's still a bit too dry, you can add a little bit more water, which I think I might need to do. As you can see here, these dry bits here, but for the most part it's good. And this is just going to make the soil a bit lighter and faster drying and drainage, so the Sansevieria isn't sitting so much in water, which it doesn't like. So I'm just going to add a little bit more water and finish breaking this down, and then we're going to mix this in with the soil in this pot here. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get some sand, and I'm going to add this to the normal soil. This is to, again, make it a little bit more light and airy and easily draining. Just mix this in good. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cocoa coir. I'm going to mix it in a little bit at a time, like that. Okay, and that's how it looks after I've mixed it all through thoroughly. A good amended mixture of potting soil. Alright, so I just dip the microfiber in some water, squeeze it out so it's not soaking wet. And this is the water with the chemical-free soap and lemon juice. And the reason I use that combination is one, because it's good to get stubborn things off, and two, it acts as a pest deterrent, and if there are anything on there, it just washes them off, and bugs don't like it. So yeah. Okay, so I'm just wiping down the leaves like that. As you can see, they look much shinier. And just give them a quick pass over with the dry cloth, like that. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and clean the rest. So I'm pretty sure you don't want to see that. It's just me wiping them over with the damp cloth and drying them off with the dry cloth. So I'm just going to get on and do this, and then we're going to replant them, and maybe I'm going to break apart the plants so I can arrange them nicely. We'll see. Okay, so here's everything all cleaned up, dust free, looking really shiny. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one's kind of a rooted piece that looks like it just rotted away. Plus I have this intact leaf here, which I removed because I noticed it had something here. So I'm going to cut this off and going to try to propagate this leaf. We'll do that in a little bit. But first we're going to try and rearrange these into its new pot here and see what we can get it to look like. Okay, so I made the decision to split them because these ones were a bit smaller than I thought, and I figured they'd go well and look nice in a smaller pot, give them a chance to really put some roots out. And maybe because if they are a little bit more constricted, they might start popping out more babies and fill out a little bit more. So that's a little bit of an experiment, plus another way of getting just a little extra house plant around the house, because I have gotten rid of quite a few of them. So yeah, I've got some spots for duplicates, and I really like this one. And then this is the two biggest pieces that I have, and I noticed that they were quite wobbly because they don't have a lot of roots, so I've had to put in some support rocks and hope that when they root out they can eventually start supporting themselves, because they are quite big. So rather than put too many plants in there, I've given them this container to themselves, and it looks pretty nice. It doesn't look so sparse. And with this little pot here, it really does look quite nice. So I've got this one leaf left over here that I removed because I noticed this little spot here. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this up, and we're going to try and propagate this, because I've not actually tried to propagate a Sansevieria leaf before. So yeah, let's give this a go. Okay, so I've cut it into 3 pieces, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get my pot here and put them in like this. making sure to plant them the right side up so they root. Hopefully these root and I get an extra pot of Sansevierias. But one thing to note with these is if you've got the Sansevieria with the yellow edge, if you propagate them like this rather than from a separation like this, then you're going to get the solid green one without the border that comes up here, because it will lose the variegation there because reasons, I don't know why. So I'm just going to pop these in this pot here and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so that's all of those in the pot together, and I'm just going to keep this dry and every so often give it a very small amount of water. Now I heard that it takes a very long time for anything to happen with this method, but it's not a race. The leaf broke off anyway, so yeah, I'll just plant them and see what happens, and hopefully something does, and they start sprouting roots and new plants, because it'd be cool to have some more. So I'll keep you up to date on what happens with this, and hopefully it doesn't die. And I'm going to go find places to put these, and hopefully these settle in and root and continue to do well, if not better. Anyway peeps, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed and learned something. As always, it's much appreciated. Much love, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.